Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager. This is their part number 279D. This is a Dutch door bolt is what it is by Hager. A Dutch door bolt is admittedly just a surface bolt, really. But when someone calls it a Dutch door bolt, we really mean a really short surface bolt. Although one that has a size that would match bolts that would be typically longer than this. So it's a full-size decorative surface bolt in just a shorter length is what a Dutch door bolt really is. You don't need this to be long at all. You would probably not want it to be longer than this standard type of length. So a 279D by Hager is a Dutch door bolt. Short little bolt. Now a Dutch door bolt is literally used to secure the top leaf to the lower leaf in a Dutch door application. A lower leaf will generally have a shelf, but not always. That shelf can be offset to the push side or to the pull side, or it can be centered so that it moves out equally into both egress and ingress faces of the door. But you do need the ability to secure the top leaf to the lower leaf, obviously in a non-fire rated Dutch door application. And then the lock set that's generally in the lower leaf will then govern the locking overall on the door opening. The 279 from Hager features this couple of mounting points. This one is loose. Okay, so I'll remove that. This is fixed and it's held in by that pin that's there. So the projection really becomes how far it can travel from here to that pin. And that's really the projection. It appears to be about 1/2 of an inch. Yeah, it's a little bit less, maybe 7/16 of an inch projection. Okay, so you'll get both of these plates mounted on as you need them. It's going to float a little bit, so depending on where it's installed. Okay, should work out really well for you. You're going to want to space those bolts so that neither of these are going to conflict with anything. This is made of, I'm sure, well, it's supposed to be made of bronze, but it's made of brass, and it has an oil rub finish. Being a Dutch door, you're generally going to have your choice of strikes because your door can swing in or it can swing out, first of all. You can use, certainly, a Dutch door bolt on any application where you want a robust or full-size surface bolt, but you just want one shorter. And I've certainly sold these to people in applications where they have just put them on doors or windows because they want something decorative, they want something that is full-size, but they want something that's small. Okay, so you're going to have 3 strikes. You're going to have this T-strike. You can see, use your imagination and see why we call it a T-strike. And the way that that's going to obviously latch is going to be just like this. So if you're doing a Dutch door application, this might be really appropriate for an application where you don't have a shelf projecting into the pull side of the door. So you could mount this on the top of the door or the shelf if the shelf goes into the push side of the opening. This will be on the top, on the upper leaf. It'll throw down just like that. You lift it up, your lower leaf, your leaves can travel across each other. So this would be a very appropriate application for that. They also have a rim strike. That rim strike is going to work the same way that I just described, where you will mortise it. And this is the common Dutch door strike. Okay, this is the common style. Same application, pull side mount. You're going to mortise this portion, of course, onto the top of the door or into its shelf, and this portion will hang off. I would opt to use this. It's a closed-off, enclosed strike application with less projecting sharp hardware. Not that this is sharp, but less projecting hardware with blunt ends. Then you have a mortise strike, and the mortise strike would be used in a situation, I couldn't see how you're going to use it in a Dutch door environment unless you have a shelf to mortise this to. So same application, this would be mortise to the top of your shelf. It would engage, in this sort of orientation. If you were using this in an a typical application, push side mount, you could just mortise this to the stop or to the soffit of the frame, and you'd be able to mortise that, and it would work out really well in a push side application. If it was a pull side application, I would go with either of these strikes. And then again, in a push side application, I would go with a mortise strike. Okay, no hard and fast rules. Whatever is the most elegant way by which for you to employ one of those three available strikes would be your choice, by which to do that. Now, this Dutch door bolt is available in different finishes. They can do US10 for satin bronze, obviously US10B for oil rubbed bronze. They can do US2060 for satin chrome, and they can also do US3 for polished brass. Okay, let's take a look and see if we have a template available here, and we do. There's a link to the template. Okay, they give us a lot of good dimensions here. Let's spot check these dimensions. Great, and all three strikes. So overall length of the bolt, they're saying, is 4 inch. Overall length of the bolt itself. Yeah, indeed. They're saying that it is 1/2 inch wide. That is typical. This is closer to 5/8. Forgive me, I have... Yeah, no, they're calling out it at 1/2 inch. Generally, I find Dutch door bolts are 5/8 wide, which this really is, and then 1/2 inch thick. Now, this is closer to 5/16. Maybe not quite 1/2 inch, but 3/8. So their drawing is a bit off in that regard. So it's closer to 5/8 wide and closer to about 5/16 thick. They do... I don't see that they do. They give us the thickness. They call it out at 5/16. Okay, very good. So then we have mounting points that they're giving us for the overall width of the mounting plates at 1 11/16. That would be accurate. Okay. Now their strikes, their mortise strike is 2 1/8 by about 13/16. That T-strike is going to be 1 7/8. The width of it is about 7/8. The overall width of the strike itself is about 1 5/8. Strikes are usually measured from what would be the center line of a screw to the lip. So the center line of the plate to the lip is about, 1 3/16. But all of this is going to be securely positioned over your door top rail or your shelf. So really, there will be certainly less than the projection of the lip hanging off the door itself. That shouldn't be hanging off any more than, the projection of the lip. Yeah, it's going to be about the projection of the lip that will be hanging off. And that is about 5/8. Then the rim strike, or the cast strike. Cast strike, this is a stamped strike. And then they just have strike. So the cast strike that I'm calling a rim strike, 1 inch wide. Right on. Overall, 1 3/8. Okay. Thickness of the small portion, 1/8 of an inch where you're going to mortise it. And then the thickness of the face of it is 5/16. That would be accurate as well. It's going to come with plenty of screws. You should get a total of 6, and there's certainly more than 6 here. You'll need obviously 4, 6 or 7 you'll need. 4 for the body itself, and then either 3 or 2. They appear to be a number 6 screw. There are different lengths here, and let's study these lengths. Yeah, you're going to have 4 longer ones. Those are going to be for the body of the bolt itself. These are the longer ones. Those are the shorter ones. So they're about 1 inch and 1/8 maybe, and possibly about 3/4 inch. The longer ones would be for the bolt body itself. If you're installing this into a steel door, you're gonna, these are sheet metal screws. You might want to investigate some other method of securing it with screws. You might want machine fasteners, machine screws. The problem is getting them in a complementary finish. Dutch door bolts are generally installed on wood doors, but they can be put onto steel doors. And if you're putting it onto a steel door, be sure to specify the area where you want it to be reinforced for the hardware. Tell your door manufacturer from the edge of the door to the center line what backset you would like to have some additional steel placed in there for these for that bolt to be attached to. Okay. Inch and 3/16 overall projection, it appears. Maybe about an inch and 5/16 overall projection. Oh, I was right the first time. About an inch and 3/16. Yeah, right. Okay, sure. So looking at the drawing there. Dimensions on drawings, I like to double check them when I have the hardware because they're never completely exact. In lots of instances with Hager, and occasionally they're wrong. Very occasionally. So we do like to double check it. There is a link below this video to the product catalog that will allow us to review other surface bolts by Hager along with the 279. So could you use a 278 surface bolt? You could, if you could accommodate that mortise strike that they have. And that's just a modern style bolt, and those are available from Hager as a 6-inch length, but it's probably going to be too long for what you want to do. Then they have the more utilitarian 275 and 276 model bolts, which are just simply 8-inch or 12-inch. Overkill for a Dutch door. You're trying to keep those two leaves, the upper and lower leaf, secured to each other. Finally, there is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Hager products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Hager 279D, US10B, Dutch door bolt, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.